Kia ora. My name is Carrie Garlick. I am one of the co-presidents of Empower Kia, and I'm also a teacher at Edgewater College. And today I want to share with you one of our resources that has just been uploaded to our team drive, which is Jeopardy. This is one example of one of the Jeopardies that I have created, and this one is particular for thermochemistry as a revision tool. For those that may be aware, Jeopardy is an American game show. It is a trivia-based game show that has different categories, which you can see over here as an example. I have obviously restructured this to fit in level 3 thermochemistry topics. The point values are really important because the lower level points are easier questions and the higher level points are harder questions. The other thing I like to include whenever I create one of my Jeopardies is some fun categories. For example, here I put EC Science Staff, and that's just random trivia questions about the department members. You could also include other things such as 2025 events to kind of reflect on the year, or you could put in like random like pet trivia or 90s trivia, that sort of stuff. I find it really useful to include some fun categories along with the revision one, just to kind of help keep engagement. I'm very mindful that some students or some groups may not be performing well, so it gives them the opportunity to still gain points. Traditionally, this game is played where what pops up on the screen is an answer, and then the contestant asks the question that would then have that answer. So, for example, this is man's best friend, and is the question, or the thing that pops up on the screen, and then the answer the contestant would have would be, what is a dog? I found that way too complicated to give as instructions to students, so instead it's just a traditional, here's the question, tell me the answer. So for example, if we're looking at shapes and polarity and the students have picked 300 points, this PowerPoint, which I cannot take credit for making, all these beautiful hyperlinks, will jump to that question for students to then read. And then if you just click the next slide, you'll see the answers. On the answer slide, it also goes back to the home screen. So now you are back to the beginning and you can ask the next question. So rules for Jeopardy when I play it in the class. First off, they need to form teams. And each team takes a turn in picking a question. I highly recommend getting buzzers because it is first one to buzz in gets to answer the question, and that can be really kind of overwhelming if you're looking at people just raising their hands and things like that. One of the things I do highly recommend that departments invest in is these trivia buzzers. This is the set that I have, but you can find multiple other ones on Amazon, maybe even Temu. But the thing I like about this one here is that it locks out the people that did not hit the buzzer first, which is really, really useful to kind of end all arguments. So that's kind of the thing that I would recommend buying. I'll put a link in the video for that buzzer. When students answer the question, if they get it right, they are obviously awarded those points, but if they get it wrong, they then lose those points. This is a really good way to kind of make sure that they're just not going to be, trigger happy, constantly hitting on the buzzer and taking random guesses, but they're actually having to think about it. If they get the answer wrong, that team is also locked out from then being allowed. If they answer wrong, that team is no longer allowed to try that question anymore, and it then becomes open to all the other teams to then try to answer the question. Again, one of the reasons why I like these buzzers is that you can actually set it so that way you can reset it so that way the ones that haven't buzzed in can answer. So it's a little bit more expensive, but it has a little bit more function. So we play the game until all the questions have been answered. I highly suggest it is possible this will take over 2 sessions or 3 sessions, depending on how quickly they're working and how many categories you have. I would recommend teachers take a photo at the end of the session, so that way you know which questions have already been asked, because it will remember the hyperlink as long as you have the document open, but the moment you close it, it's going to clear it. But you can tell really quickly which ones have and haven't been answered by the colors. Cool. Once all the questions have been asked, we then open up to Final Jeopardy. Final Jeopardy, you tell the students the categories, and what they're going to do now is bet a number of points. If they get the question right, they get those points, and if they get the question wrong, they then lose those points. So this is kind of like a final Hail Mary to allow kind of students the chance to kind of take the lead. Obviously set it within reason, because you don't want them to bet like 1,000,000 points. So use whatever points that are currently on the board to kind of get a rough idea of what you think would be fair. And yeah, so if the students see this category and they don't feel confident about it, what they can do is their team could write down 0 points. That is allowed. And so that they basically just get the points they already have. However, those that aren't in the lead might try to bet a number that's going to then take them into the lead. So it's a really nice kind of way to kind of end the game. Then you give the Final Jeopardy question. There's a nice little music to it. They ideally answer it in that music time frame, but if not, it's not the end of the world. And then they get the answer. So yeah, that is Jeopardy. I have uploaded a range of Jeopardy questions to the team drive. So if you just search Jeopardy on that team drive, you'll be able to see all the ones that I've uploaded. But just as a guideline, there's this thermal chemistry one. There's a level 2 chemistry external one. There's a year 9 living world. There's human body. There's year 10 as a general revision. There is also an ion one as well, like ionic formulas and things. So yeah, I've also, I should add, uploaded a blank template as well. This is the one that I found years ago when I was at Teachers College, and I still use it because the hyperlinks are so good. And that's under the general resources for the Empower Kia. So yeah, I hope this has been a helpful kind of video. And if you have any questions or feedback, feel free to email us. Have a good end of the year.